I have been watching way too much Michael Reeves. Because of that, I have bought a Raspberry Pi and a whole Arduino kit here so that I can build a bunch of stupid robot ideas. And I haven't been this excited about code in a very long time. But that's not actually what today is about. So this first job that I have for you is for a data analyst position for Eisel & Stern. You will complete various applied research projects for data analysis. Strong critical thinking skills and some programming experience is a plus. Note, this is a reversed finance internship, so you will pay $15 an hour to work here. You read that correctly. This is reversed finance internship, so you will pay us $15 an hour. Strong critical thinking skills, but you gotta pay us to do the job. What? This is basically just a troll post. This isn't a real job. There is no company called Eisel & Stern. The only way you'll find this, or anything that pulls up Eisel & Stern, is just for this troll job posting, which has been removed off the internet. That's why this is a cached page. There's no such thing as a reversed finance internship, but there are job scams. And I think people in college don't know any better. People in college that are just looking for an internship or a job straight out of college are like, the only thing I got on the table, so might as well accept the offer. And don't do that. You can't pay to get work experience. You like buying your work experience. This doesn't make any sense. I've actually made a list of other things that shady companies will do. Number one, if you're asked to provide confidential information without filling out paperwork for like a background check or so that you can get paid, it's probably a scam. For once you have the written job offer, you've accepted it, you're there day one. That's the only time that like HR really needs that sort of personal information, is for benefits and stuff like that. Number two, if they ask you to buy software before you start the job, that's probably a scam. We're talking you're buying it and you're not getting reimbursed for it. That's a scam. It's the company's job to give you everything you need to do the job. All right, number three, if they say, hey, we need a finance background check on you, but you have to pay for it, that is also a sign of a job scam. You should not have to pay for your own financial background check so that you can get a job. If the job wants you, they'll pay for it. All right, number four, they say you need to pay to have your resume reviewed before we can move any further along in the process. So this is basically just a bait and switch. They post a job, you apply to the job, they say, your resume is not very good. Could you please have it reviewed by this service over here? This service costs $200. And the whole scam is that they fake job post, and that's their company reviewing your resume, and then they decline you from the company, and that's what they do. It's a rinse repeat job scam. Another one that could be a scam is if a company says, we'll pay you when the work is done. Now, this is okay in traditional service industries. Someone comes to your house, they fix your plumbing, they fix your electricity, put a new roof on your house, the work is done, you're satisfied, you pay them. We're talking about in the digital industry here, where someone says, hey, can you build an application? You never really meet them. You say, yeah, I'll build it. Here's the app. Then you send an invoice and you say, okay, where's my money? And they just disappear. Always get as much money as you can up front. Another really common job scam that I'm seeing more and more of, crappy companies, they're posting a job online, they get a bunch of different applicants, and then they basically just make those applicants do the work. The company will say, hey, here's a piece of an application that we need you to make as the code test. You submit the code test, you complete that function, and then they ghost you. And you basically just did uncompensated work for that company. They're just divvying out the work to applicants and not having to pay anyone to do work. The company just got their whole application for free. This next company is for this place called Ola. Now, you guys probably know Ola in the form of the Chrome extension that gives you a VPN, but actually Ola does a bunch of other things that no one really knows, because they don't do it very well. I applied to Ola, and they responded back and said, hey, we're gonna have a Skype interview with you. This was a remote job. I'm all about flexibility. And so when you see a remote job, you're like, oh, great, so they're gonna let you do you. But not at this company. You literally have to like ask to breathe air. So Ola has this thing called their DNA. It's like a 900-page employee handbook. But look at the top left. Each one of these has subcategories. And each one of the subcategories has subcategories. So the first thing you should know about Ola is that you level up here. Here, you're an Ola noob. They just straight up Ola noob, and you get this little emoji. I bet that's what they put as your Slack icon or something. So during this period, you'll be assigned larger tasks that will allow you to make a significant contribution, blah, blah, blah. But here's something that I thought raised an eyebrow a little bit. Your code will only be reviewed after the commit, and sometimes after the deployment. Your code should be reviewed, regardless of if you're a junior level or a mid-level or a senior level dev. Actually, they don't do code reviews here at all. No one will check your work, so do it well the first time. Now, as a company value, no one's ever going to check your work ever. Just my 2 cents. That sounds like a terrible idea. I probably wouldn't work at a company that says we're not going to check your work. Now, I'm all about autonomy. I'm all about leave me alone. But I'm also all about like, hey, can someone take a look at this so that I know I'm doing it to your standards? Or especially if you're a junior dev. So how are you supposed to know you're doing better work? People aren't going to check your work. They're just going to grill you for it when you f up. Basically is what's going to happen here. You review your own code. We do not do code reviews except for new people, and they must very quickly adapt to do perfect commits. So basically, if you're not doing perfect commits, you might as well not apply. Yes. You're going into an interview for another company. Imagine that. How did you guys do code reviews and make sure that you were getting better and checking your progress? We didn't do code reviews at my last job. You think that's going to go over well? Do you think that's a good company policy to have? I personally don't. You're a noob. Don't ask veterans noobs questions. So if you're a junior developer, don't ask the senior developers noob questions. Just fuck off. Don't even bother me. Don't even, leave me alone, please. Our developers, they're busy doing good work, all right? They're busy being perfect. And you better be perfect, too. You want to know why? Because you won't make it to an Olaf veteran. You are now an Olaf veteran, an integral part of the Olaf family. So right there, that's a big red flag. Anyone that says company family, automatic garbage. You're a person who can help noobs and juniors get up to speed. But a second ago, they just said, if you're a noob, don't ask veterans noobs questions. So how are you supposed to work together? That doesn't make any sense. Ola developer veterans are typically not let go from Ola. Why would any company say who's typically let go and who's typically not let go? So does this mean that if I don't make it for the first 2 years of my career here at this company, I'm going to get let go? I don't understand why you would say this. You shouldn't be talking about firing and letting people go at all. Like, yes, it happens, but what do you do? This is all publicly available. This isn't some handbook that they're hiding away either. You don't have to get an interview or get a job to find their DNA. They're loud and proud with their DNA. Let me show you this. All right, meetings are the opposite of doing. When you're hosting a meeting with your peers, you are not writing code, debugging, finding and solving problems, talking to customers. Avoid meetings. Just talk to whoever you need ad hoc over lunch and never set recurring meetings. Now, I don't know if you've ever lived in the year 2020, but most companies, they have this thing called stand-up. That's when you talk about what you did and what you're going to do and any issues that are currently on the table. So the fact that you should never set a recurring meeting seems outlandish. It's like this company has tried to make themselves so perfect that they can never make mistakes because there's just a rule for every other rule, and then inside of those rules there's a subset of guidelines for those rules, and then inside it's like a Russian nesting doll. The second issue I have with this, if you're in a meeting you're not doing, they're devaluing the task of knowledge work. A lot of work in terms of software is done in your brain. You don't necessarily need to be typing code to be solving problems. You could be solving problems while you're just sitting back listening to a song. Problem solving isn't always doing. Problem solving is thinking. It's knowledge work, and they're devaluing that by saying if you're not doing, you're basically useless here. So they have these email guidelines. Of course they have email guidelines. Actionable communication. Take a look at these conversion numbers. This is bad. Don't say that. That's not, you can't say that. Bad, not allowed. Rather, we email. I saw the conversion drop 2 weeks ago. See attached graph. Now I'm checking which change that took place 2 weeks ago could cause it. Do you know any such change? In any case, I will take charge of fixing this issue. That seems like this takes too much time to write this email. I could be coding. I could be doing instead. They just contradict themselves nonstop. People in the company work directly with their peers. We do not pass through things. Managers, central servers. If you want to get something done, just go directly to the relevant person who is responsible for that domain. No managers needed. But you're not supposed to talk to other people. You're just supposed to stay doing, right? Because if you're talking to someone else, that would be a meeting, and then you're not doing anymore. Solve yourself. Don't create work for others. Now, this is just the reality of software, like I said before. Sometimes, when you're working on something with someone else, you just end up creating issues that flow down to other people without you knowing. There's no way that you can know 100% of the code base all the time. The code base is constantly changing. How do we move forward fast? By never going backwards. Sometimes you have to do this thing called refactor, which means you have to do it again. You have to go back and make it better. Maybe they've just never heard of the concept of technical debt, Fuck it. Fuck going back to fix our technical debt. We'll just keep adding technical debt. We never go back and look at what we did in the past. Why would we look at our mistakes when we can just cover them up with other garbage solutions? So when I say remote is great and flexibility is great, I mean flexibility in working on your own terms, not flexibility in that you have to work all the time, anytime when we request you to. Each engineer shares responsibility for keeping our services running smoothly 24/7, 365. So, I mean, have you ever wanted a work-life balance? Not at this company. All right, so here is the part where they talk about their work-life balance a little bit more. They're like, we don't believe in crazy startup work. The difference between 10 and 11 hours is 10%, blah, 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 don't burn out. And what they originally had in here was a thing about attendance. Let me show you that. While working from our offices, we usually work for 9.5 hours a day. So 2 seconds ago, they were just talking about how 10 to 11 hours a day is crazy amounts of startup work. But then they're like, yeah, we usually work 9.5 hours a day. Do not suggest to change things that have a negative return on investment. Yes, you should always try to grow your profits, I guess. That's what business is about. But at the same time, sometimes you got to take less money for more quality. Sometimes you got to take less money for more brand. Here's one of my favorite parts. Avoid over-engineering. Bruh, this whole employee handbook is over-engineered. What the fuck are you talking about? Are you serious? We take pride in our mistakes here at Ola, but you're not allowed to make any mistakes. You have to make perfect commits every single time, and you can't do anything that will affect the return on investment. Correcting mistakes, you're fired. Because if you didn't make it to Ola Veteran, you're typically let go. Like, look, it's just endless. It just goes on forever. Solve it. If you encounter a problem, do not suggest how to solve the problem. Just solve it yourself. So the special benefits section, best compensation package. I don't know about that one there. You got a whole bunch of other companies to compete with in terms of compensation. In-house chef, eat every day fresh, healthy meals prepared by our in-house chef. This is a remote job. I don't understand how this is a perk. Gear provided, anything you need to succeed in your work will provide. That's not a perk. That's kind of expected. Full administrative services. Our administrative team will make your experience unforgettable. They're basically just bragging about their HR team. We have a great HR team. That's not a perk. How is that a perk to me doing my job as the best team ever? Who gets to decide that? Dog sitter. We have a dog sitter for your dog. Feel free to bring it over. This is a remote job. I'm at home. I'm my own dog sitter. Again, I don't understand how that's a perk. Transparent, immediate, incremental, action-oriented. Ola-ers are doers. Oh, God. Bring us a top developer and win $7,000. Star employees are hard to find. That's why we need your help to find the best software developers. With your requirements and your DNA, no one's gonna fit. Oh, they also have a boot camp that you have to go through when you first get the job there. So let's take a look at that. With HR. A 5-minute introductory phone Skype interview. All right, phone screening. Who are you? Do you match your resume? Blah, blah, blah. Pretty normal stuff. 30-minute online tiny coding assignment. 5 to 10 lines of code. You do this online with HR, and it's later checked by our developer. First of all, I don't know why HR's got to be there. Why does HR need to be there at all? If it's a 30-minute online coding assignment that's 5 to 10 lines of code, just set a timer for 30 minutes. I don't understand why I have to be monitored. This makes no sense. She's not going to be able to help me. That's why it's checked by the developer. And then you do another 5-minute interview. Fast interview with our developer, whatever that means. 30-minute, a long interview with our developer. 60-minute, another long interview with our senior developer. 5 interviews before you join the Ola, and then you start Ola boot camp. So dumb. Let's look at the boot camp. Here is what day 1 looks like. Welcome to Ola, a session with your mentor, explaining how everything works. Get to know your workstation, get your user email, laptop, deploy a team session, working in the deploy team, deploying real code to the field. All right, first of all, this sounds like a terrible idea. Day 1, you should not be deploying production code. People need time to set up their environment and get comfortable with the code base. Like, what is going on here? Then you have a chef lunch together with the team. Get your first engineering task, debug your code, and run unit tests. Do your first commit session with your mentor. In this session, we'll practice the first time, blah, blah, blah. Day 2, get your second task, chef lunch together. I don't understand what this means. This is a remote job. Doesn't make any sense. What if you're remote? This doesn't apply. Do I get compensated so I can go out to like Taco Bell or something? Boot camp completed. You're now officially a Ola noob. Wow, great. I'm an Ola noob. That doesn't sound fun for anybody. Why would I want to call myself that? What are they supposed to put on their resume? Like, are you serious? It's time to step forward and assume responsibility on the code you wrote. Bro, I was doing that on day 1. You got 3 weeks of code boot camp, and now you're an Ola noob. Congratulations, everybody. This is a garbage programming job. Oh. Anyways, we're almost to 200K. We're moving. That's almost 20% of a million, which is mind-blowing, insane. I appreciate you guys. Maybe we'll get there tomorrow, maybe the next day. If you enjoyed the video, maybe hit thumbs up. If you didn't, double smash thumbs down. I really need to know you hated the video. Please let me know. and leave a comment on how ridiculous you think this video is. See you in the next one.